respectful of everyone's time. Pam Jackson, good morning. um, really excited about the nonprofit exchange that we have scheduled this morning. Thank you all for being with us today. The idea that we are doing today is called Pitch. And maybe the first assignment for everyone is to think a little bit. When Tim and I were talking about the idea of pitch, I said, pitch really has to have a meaning to it. We need to have pitch be an acronym for something. So if you get real clever today, throw us what your idea for pitch might be. I got as far as pulling in the community, didn't come up with my H yet. So that might be your assignment today, to come up with what the acronym pitch might stand for. Really excited today. Darcy Howard from the Monk Gardens, Dave Daniels from Colossal Fossils, and Ann Brigham from the Salvation Army have all volunteered to make a presentation of projects that they are looking to have funded. We have 3 panel members. We have Ann Worth, Pam from the Community Foundation. She's our Distributions Committee Chair. We have Pam Jackson from the BA and Esther Greenheck Foundation. And we have Andy Shannon from the Dudley Foundation, who will be kind of the review panel, and we'll have a conversation once the presentations are made. And they will ask questions, provide suggestions for making the proposal stronger. What we're hoping is not only to have these 3 ideas pitched. Jenna's recording this session. This is a vehicle that I will have available to provide to our donor advised fund holders to hear about these 3 ideas. And I can also provide it to our other local foundation leaders so that they can hear these ideas as well. But a big part of what we want today is for this to be a learning session for all of the nonprofits that have joined us today. It's a way for you to kind of see what the process is for proposing a project idea to local funders, and how the funders really want to work with you all to make your proposal stronger and fundable by their organizations. We also have Tim Parker with us. Tim is our new CEO and president of the Community Foundation. We're very excited to welcome Tim to our team and also to this session. He's going to monitor the timing today. He's going to keep things flowing. So Tim, you have anything you want to say to our nonprofit friends?
Well, welcome everyone, and thanks for the warm welcome into the community. I am so happy to be here, and we're really enjoying and appreciating all of the people and all of the great things that there are to do here in the Wausau area. So that's great, and I'm excited to have this pitch meeting today. If you know a little bit about my background, I've spent a fair amount of time in venture capital and angel investing, and so pitches are something that I'm have been part of for a long time. So I'd be curious to hear everyone's opinion, both the foundations and the organizations who are speaking today, about whether this is the type of thing that you would like to see continue in the future. If there's a benefit for everyone, we'd love to evolve it into something that's useful for everyone. So I'd be happy to hear about that. And like Sue mentioned, this is a learning session. This is a positive, kind of approach to helping organizations become fundable. And that's the whole key, is to make those connections. And we want to be part of that and find new ways to help make that happen. So let's have some fun with it. Sue mentioned I'll be the timeline person, so I may remind you if you're getting close on your time to speed it up. I think one of the challenges when you pitch is you are an expert in your area, and so you know it inside and out, and that's great. And it becomes important when you look for funding to be able to show all of that detail and expertise. However, one of the hardest things is to have your quick pitch. So if you're in a meeting at a dinner, or if you're wherever you are, you have to be able to evangelize what you're doing, and to be able to do that concisely is important. So it's really important to be able to quickly convey what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how it's impacting our community. And especially, it's very important to have that ask. So the ask is, what do we need from you and why? And so I've had a preview of these pitches. I'm sure that they do hit all of those aspects, and I know ahead of time they've done a good job putting those together, but hopefully it's a good learning experience for others, and I look forward to it.
Yeah. And Tim is right. We are looking for, is this a valuable tool? Is it something we want to do quarterly, semi-annually? We'll be looking for your feedback on that after we are done. The way the session is built this morning, we do want to have the opportunity for all of our nonprofit friends to have a time for collaboration at the end. So we're going to be limiting each of these proposals to about 20 minutes of discussion, and which will leave us about 15 or 20 minutes at the end for a little bit of a nonprofit exchange of ideas as well. So I am sorry, I do have to leave. I double booked myself. I am going back into a session with the Wisconsin Arts Board to talk about the funding for next year. So all of our arts friends are probably happy to hear that. This is a meeting that I need to attend to get our funding from the state for 2021. So, but I will be back for the end to hear the ideas from all of you about how the session goes. And I'm so glad that it's being recorded, because I'll be watching that this afternoon. So have fun, and I will be back. Tim, we'll let you take it over.
Okay. All right. Did we, Sue, before you leave, the order of the presentations are colossal fossils first? Is that right?
Donna, you might help us. I think, Dave, you were first, and then it was going to be Darcy and then Ann. Yes. So colossal fossils,
okay.
Monk Gardens, and then Salvation Army.
Okay, got it. All right, so the first, we're gonna get right into the pitches. And as a reminder, it's a format of 10 minutes to present your idea, and then 10 minutes of some questions and answers. So we'll just, David will let you get going right away with colossal fossils.
All right, good morning, everyone. It's really nice being a part of this. Starting my timer here so I can keep an eye on that too. So to get this kicked off right away, here's the big picture. Colossal fossils, we've been doing the whole dinosaur thing for 9 years now. The last 3 have been full-time. We're now at a point where we have a museum in Wausau. We've been doing school programs and library programs all over the state. Just this year with online programs, we've been hitting about 25% of the statewide libraries. So there are over 400 libraries in Wisconsin. Anyways, we're doing some really cool things. During this whole pandemic thing, we've had a lot of time to get a close look at our collection and what we have. And what we realized is that, believe it or not, Wausau has one of the largest natural history / dinosaur museums in the state of Wisconsin. Depending on who you talk to, you might say we're number 3 on the list, we're number 4, we're definitely in the top 5 dinosaur museums in Wisconsin. For example, there's a woman who brings her daughter from Milwaukee up to Wausau, and they've done it 3 times because, as they've said, the colossal fossils exhibits are much more hands-on than what the Milwaukee Public Museum has to offer. So I think that's really cool. It says a lot about what this community has built from a science standpoint. So we've been looking at this collection and saying, okay, well, what do we have to do to be number 1 in Wisconsin? And so we've been compiling this list, and this is based on the opinion of hundreds, if not thousands, of children and their parents. We've been asking for the last 9 or 10 years, what would you like to see in a dinosaur museum? We found the same items keep coming up again and again. T-Rex, woolly mammoths, megalodon, shark. And so we said, okay, what if we got all that? And so we've done the whole budget thing. And if you look at the slide with all the pictures on here, this is a very, high overview of what we're kind of looking at. We're looking at finally getting that TRX that we've been trying to bring to Wausau for the last 5 or 6 years. We do have funding for that already. We need a little bit more. We're talking about an 8-foot wide set of megalodon jaws. We're talking about a Columbian mammoth, which is even bigger than a woolly mammoth. And this thing, if you can see it in the lower right corner of the slide there, that sucker is 20 feet tall. Also, you've got a row of human skulls. We can have the largest public anthropology exhibit in the state of Wisconsin. So once we looked at all of these items and combined them with what we currently have, we could easily become top 10 in the Midwest and about top 100 in the nation. And if you think about it, most of those museums are on the left and right sides, the east and west coast, right? So that provides enormous potential for the Wausau community to bring more people in. It's going to boost our local economy. It's going to increase our outreach. There are numerous collaborative opportunities with local nonprofits such as yourself. Jenna, let's go to the next slide. All right, so this is the price. For all of those items, it's $400,000. Now, yeah, it's a big number, but I know museums that will spend millions and millions and millions of dollars on their dinosaur skeletons. What we're doing are the museum quality replicas, so they're cast from the original skeleton. So it has all the detail at a fraction of the price. So $400,000, it includes all of our replicas, it includes the decor, like we need more plants and ferns and fake trees, things like that. Lighting, signage, this really awesome sand table, it's called augmented reality, projects a topographical map. Kids love those things. What this does is it sparks a child's imagination. It will bring them back again and again and again. So just wanted to go over that price slide real quick. Let's hit the next one, John. So here's our collaboration bit. I have said again and again that Colossal Fossils has no competitors, only collaborators. There are numerous opportunities to work with other nonprofits. So when I say, hey, we want to build one of the largest dinosaur museums in the Midwest, this isn't something to just benefit our organization. I challenge every single nonprofit who is watching this video right now, and I mean, every single one, okay? Send me an email or give me a call within the next few months and say, hey, how can we work together? And I don't care if you're a museum or a food pantry, shelter, we can find some way to utilize this collection to help you, to help us, something that is mutually beneficial. I've already talked to the Wausau West Planetarium, and we have ideas on how we can, tie in the dinosaurs and the extinction event with outer space. Chris Janssen's an awesome guy. Darcy and I have been talking, Darcy from the Monk Gardens. Why not send Sean the Mammoth Hunter to her preschool with a whole bunch of Ice Age bones? One of the other items that we want to get within that $400,000 is a 50-foot life-size inflatable gray whale. It's massive. And even better, you can actually walk inside of it and see all these internal organs hanging, heart and brain and lungs. It's really cool. Talk about an experience for a kid from Wisconsin who doesn't normally see whales. So, like I said, Colossal Fossils, no competitors, only collaborators, and we want to work with the other nonprofits in town. All right, let's do the next slide. How are we doing? We got 3.5 minutes. So the outreach, this is our final slide. Based on some rough numbers that I've been looking at, and again, this is a really high estimate, we're talking 30 to 70,000 people per year. And if we can work with Monk Gardens, if we could work with the CVA and the Wausau Museum of Contemporary Art and the Wausau West Planetarium and food pantries and whatnot, we can see that number go up even more. So think about that. 70,000 people per year, many of whom are coming from around Wisconsin and the Midwest to our little town think of what that would do for our local economies. Okay, if we're downtown Wausau or wherever, what that's going to do is boost the local small businesses. We're going to be providing more opportunities for our local schools. We'll have more opportunities to do outreach outside of town. So more schools and more libraries. And every time we go to these schools and libraries outside of Marathon County, that ultimately brings people back again and again. We have people who have visited our museum 5, 6 times just within the last 3 years that we've had it at the mall. This helps us become self-sustaining. So we can rent some of these items out. I guarantee you we're not going to be renting out a T-Rex though, too big. That will stay in Wausau, okay? That's a big draw. This allows us to create more programs. It allows more opportunities for field trips. What we found 3 years ago when we rented a T-Rex named Ivan, we had people coming from, on 150-mile radius. They were coming from Milwaukee and Madison and Green Bay and the Twin Cities to Wausau to see a T-Rex. So Minneapolis has a T-Rex, Chicago has a T-Rex. Those are really big cities, and if you're anything like me, you don't like the big city traffic. So why not come to Wausau, Wisconsin to see a T-Rex, and you get the exact same experience. And if you're familiar with Colossal Fossils, we're super hands-on. One of the best things about this, so $400,000, yes, it's a big price tag, but the shelf life of these exhibits, it's not like buying a fridge which you have to replace after 10 or 20 years. Once you have a T-Rex, that thing will still be here 100 or 200 years from now, long after I'm gone, okay? And that's one of the main reasons why we want to do this, because it is going to offer generations of children and their grown-up parents opportunities to learn more within the border of the Wausau area. So ultimately, huge boost in our local economy, many, many collaborative opportunities with other nonprofits. Remember, send me an email, right? And just sparking the imagination to create the possibility that there is life and career opportunities beyond high school. So science, math, engineering, all the STEM stuff. So I think that's about 10 minutes, isn't it, Tim?
Yes, great job, David.
All right.
Very good. And so Ann is going to ask a few questions, and the rest of you, if you have a question, feel free to put it in the chat. And if we have a little bit of time over the next 10 minutes, then we can bring some of those questions in also. So very good job. Nice job staying on time, being clear about your message. And Ann, feel free to probe a little bit with David.
I think Pam has Colossal.
Sorry about that, Pam.
That's okay.
I thought it was me. I'm like, wait, did I mess that up? Okay. A lot of the things I had noted, Dave, you addressed. So can you tell me, do you charge a membership for, or could you charge a membership?
Yeah, we could. We've played around with various things when we were open at the mall. We had, a kids club with, we're sending out newsletters every month. We normally charge admission. At the museum, we were doing anywhere from $5 to $6 a person, which is fairly reasonable. Field Museum, they're charging $30 plus per ticket. But I think, Milwaukee Public Museum, Minneapolis Museum of Science, they're kind of in that same ballpark, $20 to $30 price point. So I'd say, yes, we'd be doing admission, and that'll kind of help keep us self-sustaining as well.
Okay. Can you talk about location? I know.
Ooh, okay, $1 million question. Right now, we haven't been open at the mall. We are on the lookout for a new location. Nice thing about what we have here with our T-Rex and Mammoth and all that, it's going to take about a year before we are ready because, they're being manufactured, these skeletons. So we've got about a year to find a place, and we do have some opportunities. I don't want to open up too much about it. We have some short-term possibilities and some long-term and some really, really cool long-term collaborative opportunities with another organization or two. We'd like to stay in downtown Wausau because I think that offers the most opportunities to boost our economy. And what else? Did I hit it? I think I kind of hit it.
One more question for me. Tell me, sounds like a job interview question, but where do you see, what's your vision for Colossal Fossils in 3 to 5 years?
That is a good question. Total job interview question.
I know.
I would like, I think our gift to the world would be creating a place where, a child's imagination can really explode. And I think being a top 10 museum in the Midwest is kind of our ultimate goal. I'll just kind of keep it at that. I've seen a lot of top 10 lists throughout the Midwest, and I've been to probably half of them, if not a few more. And it's that list that, we've talked about already. That's what's going to get us there. And I think once we have that, we're going to have something really, really special in our community that does not exist in the state of Wisconsin.
Awesome.
My question to you, David, is how are you going to keep the excitement about the dinosaurs on a higher level in the city and in our area through this next year where you're going to be a little on the more undercover side?
Yeah, good point. We can start social media campaigns right now. We've had some talks about collaborating with the River District area, seeing if we can do some really cool events downtown. One thought that I had, whether this comes to fruition or not, Madison had the painted fiberglass cows maybe 10 or 15 years ago. We could do something similar with dinosaurs as well. The cool thing is dinosaurs kind of market themselves in. All the Jurassic Park movies. We're going to have another Jurassic World movie, I don't know, next year, 2022. So these things, kids have been going through these dinosaur stages throughout their entire lives. Let me rephrase. Every child goes through a dinosaur stage at some point in their life. So when you say the word dinosaur, you get that excitement. We also have a 12-foot walking animatronic dinosaur costume. So I think just walking that through downtown every once in a while will get people's heads scratching and kind of wondering what's going on. But I'm not too worried about marketing. We've been doing a lot of online programs too. So that way we're always kind of in the back of people's minds.
How are you looking at starting your campaign? Are you going to start it with the 400,000? Are you going to start it quietly, or are you going to come out completely from the get-go? How are you looking at raising this money?
That's a good question. We want to ask, for the foundations. I think there are many sponsorship opportunities. Just because of the sheer number of people that we're expecting to have at this thing. Donations too. But as far as, whether we come out and like it's a 4th of July fireworks party or quiet, I've always been kind of the mindset of go big or go home. You let people know what you're planning right now so that you can start building that excitement today versus, a year from now when you just kind of spring it out at everyone saying, hey, we have dinosaurs. Get that, kind of wag that carrot in front of everyone's faces a little bit.
Thank you.
Awesome. I don't know. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, coming in loud and clear. Awesome. Hi, Dave. I was just going to ask Tim how much time we kind of have. I have 2 questions.
We have 4.5 minutes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, awesome. Dave and everyone who's listening, I just want to say that I'm still going through my dinosaur phase, even as a young adult, 27-year-old. Dave, my question for you, and we've talked, of course, but starting off, you project a lot of growth and a lot of potential outreach going from, potentially 30 to 70,000 people, maybe even more. What I didn't see in your presentation, I just want to know how many employees currently you have on your staff, and how do you handle the growth that you foresee? Will this maybe need to have some sort of outreach towards even potential jobs at Colossal Fossils and that growth?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. So we have 3 employees right now, myself and 2 other guys. We have Sean the Mammoth Hunter and Dino Chris, who are just awesome. They're bigger nerds than I am. The 3 of us were effectively, reaching out to about 20,000 people a year already, with many opportunities for more growth. Those 2 guys were part-time. So I don't think it'll be that hard with our current staff to reach more. But once we get into that 50 to 70,000 range, we're going to be looking at more people just because there's so many programs. With a museum, a permanent, awesome museum downtown, I foresee many, many more field trips. We were doing, let's say, 3 to 4 schools or classrooms coming into our museum when we were open per month. That could easily triple, quadruple, right? 20 schools a month. You're going to need more staff to cover all those extra field trips, and it's a bigger space too. We're just under 3,000 square feet. This is probably 4,000 to 5,000 square foot thing. So yeah, there are opportunities for creating some new jobs in the Wausau area too.
Awesome, perfect. And that kind of leads then into my next question, and this is kind of more geared towards, let's say, the demographic of a young adult, maybe just starting a family or something like that. You talk about being mutually beneficial, so I'm curious if there's any efforts that you put in with working with any of the colleges or the tech school in town, potentially for recruiting talent, potentially for setting up partnerships in that realm, tying it to our organizations and institutions that already give off the learning, the education, the science vibe, and what kind of your thoughts are and your plan is with that.
Yeah, absolutely. In the past, we haven't, but there is a really cool potential for having interns. If you look at UW Stevens Point, they've got some of the best science programs in the nation. There's some awesome opportunities to get an intern, perhaps a budding paleontologist or archaeologist who could work for us, for a semester or 2, and do these field trips. And someone from Kentucky is trying to call me. I don't know. And
must be an intern.
Must be
a job. Yeah, calling you.
I
Very
think
nice.
extended warranty for your vehicle.
Good cover, Andrew. All right. So yeah, we have opportunities for interns. I could see an intern traveling to our local schools within the Wausau area in Marathon County, going to a classroom with a car or backpack full of bones, handing them out, telling the stories of the fossils, getting those kids excited.
Awesome. Yeah, I would just say, and it's not a critique or anything, but just assuming and preparing for that growth and the succession planning for the future is something that I think a lot of funders look at, and how are we going to take these funds and be able to show results for years and years to come. So I appreciate your response, though. Thanks, David.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Okay, that's 10 minutes. So really good job, David. Thank you for presenting Colossal Fossils to us today. We're going to shift gears immediately. And I believe Darcy Howard is here with Monk Botanical Gardens. Go ahead and kick it off, Darcy. You have to unmute yourself, though.
Sorry about that. So thanks, Tim, and great job, Dave. I'm excited to certainly partner with you. There's such cool things that can be done with the dinosaurs, and it's exciting. So thank you. My name's Darcy Howard. I'm the executive director of Monk Gardens, and Monk Gardens is the only botanical garden within north central Wisconsin. So our closest botanical garden is in Green Bay, about an hour and a half away. We are also the only organization within the Wausau area providing environmental education programs to the public. So that has really been a niche that we have filled in the last few years. Our vision is to connect people to plants for a sustainable future, and we're seeking to be a premier botanical garden by providing educational opportunities for people to experience plants and understand their significance, which of course leads to, as you understand things, you conserve them, and that's how we get to that sustainable future. Next slide, please. So my project, the Gardens Project, is called Sprouts Garden Preschool. And we are looking to start this preschool in the fall of 2021. Our goal is $182,000. And as I discuss this pitch, you'll kind of see where that money is needed. So the program itself is going to be a nature-based preschool. And a nature-based preschool uses nature as the foundation for the programming. So just as other preschools, kind of your standard preschool prepares the child for elementary school, focusing on letters and numbers and building their character and getting them to understand risk. The nature preschool program does the exact same thing, except that 80% of the time that the students are in the program, they are outdoors, regardless of the weather. So the motto is, you know, there's no bad weather, it's just bad clothing. So making sure that everybody is dressed properly. So this program, we are looking at starting in the fall, and in this year it would serve 16 students. And that's by offering 4-hour morning sessions Monday through Friday. Eventually, we see that our growth within 3 years would serve 64 students a year. And the potential for growth there really depends on the community. But through the research we've already done, we are very comfortable with within 3 years serving 64 students a year. We want to make sure that every student that wants to participate can participate. So we will make sure to have 25% of the students from low-income families by offering partial to full scholarships for the program. Tuition is going to be set to be affordable and on market with programs such as the YMCA. Recently, we sent out a survey on social media, and Channel 7 picked up the post and has already done 2 articles and 1 on TV interview with me about the program. And with that push, we've had already 50 families respond to the survey and express that they want to make sure they are on the list to know when registration begins. So looking to fill 16 seats in the fall, and I already have 50 families excited and ready to sign their kids up. So we're just blown away by already the community feedback we've had for this program. Next slide, please. So if you've ever been to the gardens, you may notice we do not have an indoor space. We have a gorgeous kitchen pavilion that we've been able to really expand our programs. So what we need is we're looking at building 2 yurts. Now, yurts are often used in state parks to rent out for sleeping quarters. They've been used in other nature preschools around the country as indoor spaces. The great thing about a yurt is it's affordable. It can be put up by a group of volunteers, and they're movable. And if you've ever looked at the Gardens Master Plan, we actually have in the future, we're looking to put a little village of yurts up in our northeast corner to rent out so that the community can do overnights at the gardens. So by purchasing 2 yurts right now to serve as the preschool program, we'll be able to use them for other purposes once, and again, our master plan is looking at developing a visitor center and education wing. And once that happens, most likely our school will move into that space. Each yurt can hold 16 students, and we originally thought we would look at 1 yurt, and the reason why we're looking at 2 is because we want to be able to grow the program so that we can get to that 64 students within 3 years. And that second yurt in the meantime will be a revenue builder. So we'll be able to run our garden programs year round. We'll be able to rent out the space to nonprofits, to other businesses for retreats, for meetings, and use it for things like birthday parties and other gatherings. So really that second yurt, until we get to a point in that 3 years, really is going to help us build more revenue so that we can feed that back into the program. So this slide here just gives you an idea of what the yurt would look like, and the potential for what the inside of the yurt could look like as that classroom space. Now, as I mentioned, the students are spending 80% of their time outside, but we do need an indoor space for the 20% that they are indoors. And of course, if it's dangerous weather, we've got to have space for the students to be indoors. Next slide, please.
3 minutes.
Thank you. So what does the research tell us about environmental education in nature preschools? And there are hundreds of studies that have been done over multiple decades on forest schools and nature schools. The bottom line is that most of these studies, and in particular, a recent study in Antioch College in New Hampshire, showed that there was an increase in academic content, student enthusiasm was enhanced, behavioral issues were managed better, the connectivity for students to teachers improved, and it helped increase physical activity. And as, again, many studies have shown that physical activity at a young age and play has been shown to have multitude of health benefits, including alleviating anxiety, depression, and obesity. Nature preschools have been growing exponentially in this country over the last 5 years, and there's over 600 throughout the United States. And many of them are at botanical gardens throughout the United States. I'd also like to note here that with the pandemic, many preschools have moved outdoors and have really tagged on to this nature preschool concept, because the safest place to teach kids right now is in the outdoors. Now, ultimately, why do this? Because the students are going to connect with nature, they're going to learn about plants and gardening, and then they are going to grow up into adults that care about the environment and understand conservation issues and become citizens that can make solid decisions. Next slide, please. So for our community, there has been highlighted in the Life of Marathon County report is a need for daycare and preschool programs. And this would be a unique program that really is obviously attractive to the community. It's also a unique niche. Nobody else is doing it. And the high quality program and readiness for education really will develop our future plant lovers. And finally, collaboration is definitely will happen through offering programs with partnering with the CBA, Colossal Fossils, Wausau Dance. We're already in conversations with these groups to talk about how to integrate some programming. And finally, this program will show a profit after year 1. And as we increase the number of students, the profit will increase, which will be able to feed back into the program and also help us develop our master plan overall for the gardens. That's all I have.
Nice job.
Thank you.
That's great. Well, we'll open up to the panel for questions.
Oh, thank you, Darcy. That was very, very interesting. I have a couple of questions about the funding, the 185,000.
I'm on a call right now. Can I give you a call back in like an hour or so?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Oh, okay. All right. The funding, are you looking at funding for buying the yurts?
So the 182,000 includes the 2 yurts. We will need to build an accessible that will connect the 2 yurts. It also includes the furnishings. So the school furnishings and also furnishings to be able to use them as a rental as well. And it includes the cost to hire for the first 6 months, not a full year, but for the first 6 months, of a full-time teacher and a part-time teacher, which is what we need to make sure we maintain our ratios.
Have you done any research locally with the Watts Area Builders Association or any of the apprentice programs for the building trades, or with North Central Technical College with their architectural residential design program about the possibilities instead of purchasing? I mean, is this something that could be done locally with any of these organizations as a partnership?
So the yurts themselves are going to be put together by volunteers. The construction labor costs will happen on some of the foundation pieces, which we have started to reach out Wausau Homes to start having that conversation. The reason why we want yurts is because this is part of our plan, our master plan, to eventually be able to use as rental spaces. And yurts have shown, again, county parks, state parks, national parks, they've all shown that yurts are one of the most affordable ways to put up and use a building long-term for purposes that really integrate nature. And so we really feel like the yurt style fits in better with what our overall plan is.
I have no problem with that. What I guess I'm trying to ask is if you have reached out to local, I mean, are you buying these from an outside company, or is this something that could be designed and built yurts, you know, using our local talent? That was the question.
Okay, so I apologize, I misunderstood. There aren't many companies that build yurts that can live in winters like us. And so the research that we did was we actually reached out to Michigan State Parks and we talked to Wisconsin State Parks, and they also purchased their yurts from this specific company, which is out of California, because nobody locally builds them. It's not something that that's commonly built, and so there's specific companies that know how to do it and build them in a way that they come almost like a kit for us to put together.
Okay. One other question is, first of all, I applaud you for bringing 25% of low moderate income kids into this program. Thank you. Have you developed how you're going to have proof of that so that you're able to possibly reach out for some federal or state funding for assistance?
So we have been providing scholarships to low-income students for our summer camps for the last 2 years. So we do have an application process, just as the YMCA does. So we had already worked with them on helping to establish our program, and we will use that moving forward. We also have partnered with Head Start, who has been working with us as well. We do programming with them, but we've been already started conversations about how preschool could, moving forward, potentially become part of their program and looking for that local funding as well. So we're in the beginning conversations of that. The money that we are looking for is just startup money. We do not anticipate coming back to the foundations or our donors for increased funding once the program is established.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. Could I jump in here? I'll jump in right away with a question if I could. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Muted or
Yes.
anything? Okay, cool. So Darcy, great presentation as always, and this is another project. Love hearing about it time and time again. One of the big questions I have, and this is just kind of a multifaceted question. So one of the things, especially when dealing with the yurts, I'm curious as to what the process is and what are your thoughts on preserving these assets via security, and how do you make sure that if we are to be in a position, or aren't as funders, where we're not going to keep getting requests and stuff like that, we need to be able to preserve these sort of assets. So I'm curious, what are your long-term goals for security and maintaining these? And I guess we'll start there, and then I have another part to that. So
Okay, great question. So currently the gardens is completely fenced in. And since we have had issues in the past, we have installed cameras in some places, and everything is timed and locked at this point. With the installation of the yurts, we'll also have to installate Wi-Fi, which will allow us to put in a security system on the yurts, along with cameras. And so as far as security goes, that's the long-term plan. And that has worked over the last year since we have done it in our other property space up at the house. As far as maintenance, the board a long time ago established a maintenance and capital repairs fund. And so part of our fundraising of that capital, a percentage of that goes into that fund for long-term maintenance. Included in that is we're estimating that the revenue that we make each year, a percentage of that will also be put away each year into a maintenance fund. So long-term maintenance of the yurts and the security plan seems to be pretty solid.
awesome, wonderful. So then now switching gears to the new tenants. So we're gonna have a bunch more kids. I think you mentioned 16 per yurt, and then looking maybe at 64 kids plus per, I don't know if that's like a daily, so if there's 60 kids running around, my question is, one kid with a stick can do a lot of damage to plants and other stuff like that. So I'm curious what, I mean, I don't know how you handle that in particular. I hope a great teacher and stuff like that, but I'm curious about how you handle that. And then with kids being on the premises, what are liability concerns and what does that look like from a legal standpoint? And
Sure.
yeah, I'm just
Well,
curious.
insurance-wise, I've already had conversations with our insurance company. Again, as I mentioned, most of these nature preschools happen at botanical gardens and or nature centers. So this is something that our insurance company is used to. And we didn't even have an increase in insurance costs when they found out that the kids were coming. There's no more liability than when you have field trips on site, which we've already established our insurance for that. As somebody who has worked in environmental education for 20 years now, what I can say is that it's very uncommon for a group of kids that are there to learn about nature and discover it and explore. You really set the parameters and they learn to respect nature very quickly. And so I have to say, in all the years that I've taught, damage by children to a nature center site or the plants or the landscape has never been an issue. So that's something I didn't even think about because, again, it's something I've never experienced. And I have taught probably tens of thousands of children in my career. And that's one of the reasons why we want to do this program is it teaches children to, you can touch gently and learn and experience and also learn to respect it.
Sure. And I'm sorry too, and I meant to, the response was fantastic, but I'm curious as to the actual, when you have these kids coming into, your space, what happens when a kid could maybe get hurt? What are the legalities potentially associated with that? I'm just curious.
Okay, quick
Sure,
answer,
so-
and then we're going to cut off the time.
Okay, yeah. So again, it would be treated just like if it was a summer camp, right? So if a kid gets hurt, we already have release forms from parents to be able to treat them. And then there's an emergency process in place as far as what happens in the next steps. But, we aren't anymore, it would just be like a kid getting hurt at school. So again, we've got policies and processes in place to manage emergency situations. And also if somebody gets hurt, whether it's a child or an adult at the gardens.
Great.
Okay.
Okay, nice job. Sorry to cut it off, but we're gonna stick close to our 10-minute rule here. So good questions and great presentation, Darcy. Really happy that you were able to share with us today. Okay, the last pitch, and certainly not the least, but the third pitch of the day is Ann Brigham from the Salvation Army, and I will let you just dig right into it.
All right, thanks. I'm the development director here at the Salvation Army, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to be able to present this opportunity to participate in a project where your help can help us serve at minimum another 2,000 of the most vulnerable people in the community. We are requesting an investment of $30,000 from 2 organizations for a total project cost of $60,000, and that's to update our antiquated fluorescent lighting, light fixtures and bulbs to energy efficient LED lighting. Coincidentally, this morning when we came in, several of our fluorescent lights weren't working, so might be a sign. But anyway, so today I'll be telling you about who we are, what the project is and where it is, how and when it is to be done, why it's necessary right now, and how it will be sustained. Next slide, please. Okay, so as you know, the Salvation Army is an international organization and we serve without discrimination. It was started in 1865 by William Booth, who is an ordained minister, and he realized that before tending to people's spiritual needs, they really needed practical physical assistance, needed to attend to their physical needs first. So that's how the Salvation Army was started, and many people will recognize the Salvation Army from the Donut Lassies of World War I, where women literally went into the trenches in the war and served our young men coffee, donuts, and a squeeze on the shoulder just of reassurance, because many times they couldn't even talk. They couldn't speak because the enemy was so close that they would be heard and give their location away. So the Salvation Army is now in 125 countries. And locally, we started here in 1912. We do national and local disaster response as well. And we have 16 staff members, several volunteers, and 2 officers. So we run a pretty lean ship. As you see the years behind our buildings there that I have listed, the social services building was built in 1958. And it's like really solid. It's all concrete and as a telecommunications building. And as you can see, our emergency disaster services, we've got a mobile canteen that is dispatched to fire, accidents, local, regional, national disasters as requested, offering services to our emergency personnel and support for the victims of those catastrophes. Now, next slide, please. Let's talk about our services a bit. What we do, I'm not going to read through all those because you can read, But we do provide all of these services without discrimination, as I mentioned. And it's the services that comes to for anybody who comes to our doors. We serve the most vulnerable of our population. We are in the trenches every day helping these people. Many of them have substance abuse issues. They've lost their jobs. They've lost their homes. Some of them have mental health issues, and they're trying very hard just to survive. So we've got our sleeves rolled up, and we're in the trenches doing this. It's not pretty, it's not sexy, but it is what it is. And I love the other presentations, by the way. They're wonderful and uplifting, so I'm really kind of glad I'm going last year. So but like I said, we are in the trenches. So we do offer a lot of case management services for individuals as well. Next slide, please. Okay, let me talk about the project now. All right, the project is, like I said, replacing light fixtures and bulbs, the antiquated fluorescent light fixtures to LED lighting. Some time ago, the officers realized that, hey, a lot of our fluorescent lights are not working. So what is it going to cost to replace them? Well, we talked with WPS, did an energy audit. We do have that. We worked with Focused on Energy, did that application process, and we found out, and we got 2 quotes from local vendors, and we found out the project's going to be $60,000. Well, and I don't have pictures of the project because, you know, fluorescent light fixtures really just, I mean, they're not that exciting. So anyway, I have submitted a grant to the WPS Foundation. It is under consideration. Like I said, this is a partnership where, you know, certainly we've entertained somebody wanting to fund the entire $60,000 project for the community. However, we thought it would be more palatable by doing it in a 50-50 partnership. So we're looking, like I said, I have a grant ask out there for the WPS Foundation, and they are considering it, and we are looking for another organization to partner in this project. Like I said, we do have vendors who have given us local quotes. Time is of the essence because they're busy and it's really hard, you know, if the quote expires and then we have to turn around and ask them to reprice everything. Because of COVID, it really delayed how we pursued this project this year. Now, the Focus on Energy incentives total $3,645. And our total annual budget, just so you know, is $1.9 million that every year. Now, how would we do this project? Next slide, please. All right, here's the how and the sustainability. Like I said, we worked with Focus on Energy. We've got the grant ask out there. We serve, at the end of the why now, we serve about 43,000 people unduplicated every year. When you consider when they come in, a lot of them get 2 or more services. That's about the impact of 92,000, over 92,000. Now, the energy savings by installing the LED lighting will be a little over $3,700 annually. So when you equate that to the state's per diem cost, meal cost of $2 per person, that's where I get the, you know, being able to serve an additional almost 2,000 people. When you consider that's at minimum, because many of them receive 2 or more services. And when they show up on our door or at our door, a lot of them, the look in their eyes is like, we are their last resort. We are their hope. So being able to be energy efficient and be able to continue to serve is a way for our partners to be able to do something practical without having to actually be here to have your sleeves rolled up and in the trenches with us. So in a time when there isn't a lot of good news out in the community, I mean, you know, you don't have to have the news on very long to realize that, yeah, there's not a lot of good going out there. Well, this is a, sorry for the horrible pun, but a light in the darkness where, you know, we can partner and we can get a lot of good, positive messages out in the community. I have a promotional plan already developed, and I would be very happy to really hone that with the organizations we partner with to really get 360-degree promotional coverage on that. And what I mean by to make sure that it's from all angles and it's out there the entire project. So I look forward to working with our partners to complete this worthwhile projects that's going to provide support to us so we can continue to support the most vulnerable in our community. I thank you, and I really do welcome your questions. Thanks.
Well, very good. Awesome. Oh, sorry, Pam. You go ahead. I'll let you go first.
Just a couple quick questions. And well, first of all, I just wanted to comment that I really liked that you equated the cost savings in terms of human, you know, how many more people you can serve. I think that's really impactful. So that was just a comment. And on your budget, was the 1.9 million, is that just Marathon County?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
that is for our location. That's
Okay.
our core location. And we only serve Marathon County.
Okay. And one last question. If you weren't able to secure the full 60,000, would you be able to do this project in phases? Like half at a time, or?
I think that would probably depend on the contractors. I think they wanted to, I mean, of course they want to do the whole thing at once,
Sure.
you know, like one right after another. If we had to do it that way, we could do it that way. We do it, you know, on a building by building basis. That's how we would do that.
Hopefully that's not necessary, but I was just curious.
I have, first of all,
Good way to think about that.
Anne, congratulations for this project. And I had a conversation with Mayor Katie, and she said that on the county board, when they did this with the library, it had about the same substantial savings, about $4,000, which she was truly amazed at. So my question to you is, where are you looking to reach out at for, and how are you going to go about that?
Reach out, you mean like to other organizations for funding? Is that what you mean?
Yes, yes.
Okay, my internet is not stable here, so I apologize. It kind of cuts out in and out. But well, like I said, we've already reached out to the WPS Foundation. I already had a conversation with them last week about it, and they are considering it, although it's larger than what they typically fund, but they're not saying no yet. I will be submitting an application to the Community Foundation for the Community Enhancement Grant, which I believe is due December 1st. So those are the two things that we're doing right at this moment. Like I said, because of COVID, we kind of got delayed, but that's our initial plan, and we'll go from there.
Thank you.
Awesome. I'll just jump in here, and great presentation, and thank you again for joining us. One of the big things that, and you kind of answered it right at the end of your presentation, but you had mentioned a promotional plan. So I'm just curious, how are you going to be able, and what are you looking to tell with this story, and how do you potentially reach?
It cut out on me again.
More. Oh, can you hear me okay?
How are we going to, I'm sorry, it keeps cutting out on me.
No, yeah, if you can hear me, just curious about your promotional plan in totality, I guess.
How do I'm sorry, it's not working.
And maybe try muting your video, so maybe just your sound will come through.
So I got a message saying that my internet connection was unstable. I thought, oh, perfect timing.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so please re-ask your question. I think we're okay now.
Okay, yeah, I'm just curious, Anne, about your promotional plan that you had mentioned at the end of your presentation, and how you are going to go about telling your story, and then potentially reaching out to 1,800 potential new folks.
Okay, well, I have a background as an advertising director, and I also have marketing background, so that I think is going to help with understanding the marketing aspect of this and the public relations opportunities that are available. So of course it does include social media, but the plan initially will start with telling hey, what's happening? And of course we would have the partnerships together. So what I would expect is that not only would I be putting stories out there, we're talking press releases, coordinating interviews, radio spots, those kind of things, was that the organizations that are partnering with us would also have those opportunities to repeat those messages from their viewpoint, but talking about the same project and why this is beneficial for the community. So, and that would be ongoing throughout the project. I'd be taking photos, I'd be, sharing progress updates, just, going through that through the year. And how would we reach out to new people? Well, we have a lot of people that follow our Facebook page, when they look for services, and Instagram. We do have a Twitter presence. It's not our highest attended social media. A lot of people do look on our website. They do find us, of course, just by doing searches. And other organizations, of course, refer people. So when I said that that equates to serving an additional 2,000 people, what I meant by that was, and putting it in practical terms, because, I hate to say that we don't have to advertise to bring in people, because, the people that do need help do search for help. And I've been trying to do a lot more with keyword optimization to get, when people do searches, that they come to us. But our need does grow. I mean, just based on what's happening, and because of, the pandemic, I do expect that we'll probably have a lot more people coming to our doors. We need to tighten up our ship, be more efficient, and this energy project is the way to do that, I believe. Does that answer your question?
Yep, it sure does. I'm curious too, going off of the numbers, the roughly 2,000 folks, just can you share just with everybody where you draw those metrics from, and what is maybe the plan to use those metrics to your advantage for sharing the story?
Okay, well, what I did was I figured out, like I said, the number of people that we serve per year, just unduplicated, was, what was it, like 43,000 folks, 43,647. And then what I did was I figured out how much in energy savings that this project would mean annually, and that's $3,735 we would save annually. So then I took that amount and I divided it by the $2 per diem rate for meals, the per diem state, $2 per meal state rate. And that's how I came up with the almost 2,000 people. Yeah, check my math. I'm not a great mathematician, but that's where I got that number from. I was trying to put it in tangible terms, because yeah, it sounds good that we're saving $3,700 a year, but what does that mean in service? So when you consider that we have 43,000 people that we serve with just one service, and many of them come in for 2 and 3 and 4 and seasonal help, and the impact that it has on their mental health. I mean, how do you measure that?
Awesome. Thank you.
Sure.
That's all I got.
Good. Well, thank you so much. Very good presentation. All three of them were great. So Dave, Darcy, and Ann, thanks so much. Before we turn this into a audience discussion, I thought I would ask the panelists and the presenters, how do you think it went? Were we easy on you? Did we ask tough enough questions? Is it the kind of thing you could see us continuing?
I'll go first. I really enjoyed it because I got to learn a lot more about, the monk gardens and about the dinosaurs. I love that. I want to go. I've only been here since January, and it just really, I think this is really a good educational experience. Plus also, if somebody is a beginning grant writer, I've been doing this for 7 years. If anybody's a beginning grant writer, I think it's helpful and it makes it a little bit less scary. So as far as the questions, I think that they were all in line. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's nice to hear other people's projects. And I think it's nice to get the questions at us so that, now I have a better understanding of the questions that are in potentially funders' minds that maybe I wouldn't have thought of to put in the grant prior to that. So I thought it was helpful.
Same sentiments here from our end. I mean, you're asking good questions, ones that I typically see in grant applications. So it was good.
Good. Okay, well, I'd say, first of all, again, thank you so much. And let's open it up to the rest of the audience. If you would like to unmute your video and mic or send a question in the Q&A, if there are any general questions or discussion you guys would like to have. All right. Boy, you've stunned them. Okay.
Well, I guess I can kind of go first. I'm Kelly. I'm with the Center for the Visual Arts in downtown Wausau. I just want to say thank you so much to David, Darcy, and Anne for for giving those presentations. It was really exciting to see what other organizations are doing in town. It's actually kind of inspiring. So thank you for doing that. Yeah, and for Darcy, I'm looking forward to our collaboration. And David, when you were talking about dinosaurs, I was thinking that over the summer, that was the #1 thing that was asked for a theme for the kids for summer camp was dinosaurs. So I definitely see a partnership in our future. And I hope you guys enjoyed our kind of mini consolidated partnership over quarantine where we did the art kits and stuff. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to working with all 3 of you guys. I think the presentations were great, and I'll reach out. But if there's anything that the CVA can do to help all 3 of your projects, we would absolutely love to do that. So I'll make sure I follow up with you guys.
Thanks, Kelly.
Hello, I'm not sure if I am heard or not. Oh, someone's nodding their head. Excellent. Yes, host actually muted my video. I knew I wasn't a good-looking guy, but I didn't think it was that bad. But I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Craig Vincent, and I'm actually in the process of moving my family from Pennsylvania, and I've become the executive director at Bridge Street Mission. And so I just wanted to jump on this mostly just to meet people, see what's happening in this community, and just looking forward to being a part of the solution for human needs here in Wausau. So just want to introduce myself and thank you.
Well, welcome to the community. Craig, I am no longer the rookie then because I just moved here from Michigan about 5-6 weeks ago. So.
Oh, okay, yes. Well, my wife's actually in Michigan right now with her parents, and she'll be joining me on Wednesday. So just brand new. I'm excited to be here and wanting to be engaged in the community that serves others. And so I've learned quite a bit and enjoyed just hearing you, knowing what your ministries and your outreaches and your arts and different things are doing. It's very encouraging, and I'm just glad to be here. So just wanted to introduce myself.
Great. Thank you. So what's the temperature from everyone? Is this the type of event you would want to participate in the future? See a few nods.
I don't think anybody wants to be on the hot seat.
I was gonna say, I think I was too nice this time around. I gotta channel my inner Mark Cuban or something and really get Shark Tanky or something. But no, it's just great to get everybody in this group, and for everybody who's in the group right now, feel free to reach out to any of these awesome folks. That's why we're here, to all collaborate and help each other. So take advantage of this, and hopefully we can all continue these conversations moving forward.
Great. Yeah, and thanks for our panelists. It takes a little bit of work to be prepared for that, not just the presenters. So thanks to each of you for helping. And Sue, thank you for orchestrating this and making it happen for everyone. This is exactly where we need to be as a community, is speaking together about all of the initiatives that are taking place, so together we can have a positive impact.
I just wanted to note that you will be receiving a follow-up survey after we are done, hopefully this afternoon, maybe tomorrow. And that will be one of the questions. Was this a helpful session for you? Is this something you would like to see in the future? How often do you think a session like this might be valuable? Are we looking at quarterly pitches? Are we looking for semi-annual pitches or once a year? The other question will be, are you willing to pitch your project idea at one of the upcoming sessions? Craig, I'm looking at you because Bridge Mission was one of the invitations that was sent out as a possible pitch for today, but we'll get you on in the future. And as I'm looking through the names, I'm like, yep, there's a lot of people here that we'll be picking on in the future to do their pitches in the future. Did anybody come up with an acronym for us yet for pitch? We'll be looking for that too. Any other comments about today's session?
Sue, this is Lee Shipley. I unfortunately was not able to join at the beginning. We had some crises going on here at the mental health clinic. What a surprise. And so I'm wondering, it looks like this is being recorded. Can I watch it later?
Yes, Jenna did say that she plans to send that along with the survey, the link to be able to watch this again.
Okay, that would be wonderful. Thank you. And my apologies for not being able to.
Thank you, Lee.
Sue, it's Carla, and I don't need my video on. I just wanted to just chime in. I've been listening here in the background, and obviously being a part of the Community Foundation, I just want to not only say thank you to the people that were presenting today, but for the funders that were here asking the questions. I really believe that in the role that I have with the Community Foundation, it is not only humbling to hear the work that is being done, but for the due diligence that's being done and how things are being vetted. It really allows me an opportunity to know more, to be able to speak with some depth to not only potential donors, but also many of the financial advisors and estate planning attorneys and individuals that are looking to put their dollars into this beautiful community that we love so much. So thank you to everybody for what you're doing and for allowing me to have some more insight in that, because our job is to continue to make sure we keep funding all the great work that you're doing here. So thank you to all of you. And thank you, Sue, for the role that you play in leading this effort.
Great.
Any other comments about today's session? Anything you might have learned from watching the grant proposal process? I did not see everything, but what I did see, this is a typical conversation that any one of us funders would have with a nonprofit that comes to us with a proposal idea before they put in an application. Ann and I, and Worth and I, would like to just remind everybody that this is a conversation that we do like to have before a proposal is submitted to the Community Foundation. In our case, oftentimes, you may come to us with a project idea, and not only might it be a good fit for us, but we can also direct you to other funding sources that might be helpful to you as well. So those conversations are really important. So make sure you have them before you put your proposals in. And I do want to remind everyone that, Pam, Andy, and Ann, just want to remind you of our upcoming application deadline. We do have one more application cycle in 2020, and that would be an application deadline of December 1. So anybody that has a project they want to submit to the Community Foundation, let's have a conversation. We're looking for some good things to fund yet, right, Ann?
Yes, we are.
We have one more as well for our December meeting. Applications would be due the last Wednesday in November.
Okay.
Off the top of my head, I don't know what day it is. So.
Okay. Andy, where are you at?
Yeah, I just wanted to, pretty much the same. We have our board meeting first Wednesday of December. So deadline's really creeping up pretty fast. We've received a good chunk of grants already. So depending on the timeliness and stuff like that, I'm open to communications and stuff like that. But, you know, it'll be worked out. But if there's a timely need, then we'd be happy to look at a grant for sure.
So one thing to note here is you should always be aware of what the foundation's fiscal year is. Community Foundation, and I believe BA and Esther Greenhack, you also run on a calendar year, fiscal year. In our case, we get an allocation in January, what we have to spend that year in grants. We do have funding available yet for 2020, so we are looking for some good proposals. Andy, your fiscal year is different, though. It's not a calendar year. I think the Dudley Foundation, if I am correct, your fiscal year ends in the end of July. Pam, do you know? I think we lost Andy. He's got that answer for you if you ever need it, though. Tim, thank you so much for maneuvering the conversation today.
Well, thank you. It was a fun day. Enjoyed it.
Good. Again, just want to put the note out there that we do have a funding opportunity coming up. Nonprofit exchange is something that the Community Foundation is going to continue. We do listen to your suggestions. It'll be part of your survey that comes through. What are some topic ideas? One of the topic ideas that did come out in the last session that we had was sharing services, possibly sharing personnel, equipment, whatever it might be. We'd like to continue that conversation with you, and rather than waiting a quarter to do that before we schedule another exchange, we were thinking about scheduling a nonprofit exchange in early December to throw that topic out there. It might not be something that everybody needs to talk about, but there were a couple organizations that were interested in that. So watch for that. That'll be coming out. Andy, I had asked the question about the Dudley Foundation's fiscal year.
I apologize about that. Could you repeat the question there?
Yeah, I just said that it's important to know what the fiscal year of a foundation is. You are not looking at the end of a fiscal year at the end of December. Your fiscal year is different, correct?
That's correct. Yeah. So our fiscal year starts July 1st. So right now we are in our Q2, which our Q2 will be ending the day of our board meeting on December 4th. I think I clarified too, but I want to just make sure again, our grant deadline for this quarter is going to be around, I think it's November 21st right now. It's whatever 2 weeks before that Wednesday date. So, and we're always open to wiggle through that if need be. So, but yeah, it is important to understand that, and to also, you know, depending on the grant making of the funder, you know, can depend on the ask and the timeliness and what, you know, what's working for each group, I guess. So something to bear in mind. So hopefully that helps.
Great.
Okay, well, we do have a nonprofit schedule for 2021. We'll get that out to you so you can plan your dates to join us for nonprofit exchange. We're looking for topic ideas. That'll be in the survey as well. Topic ideas for the lunch and learns for next year. We'll be putting that out on the schedule as well. Thanks to WPS Foundation, we do have some funding left that we can hire some outside sources to do some webinars for us coming up. With our current climate, with COVID, we do anticipate for quite some time yet we will be meeting virtually. Always nice to see you all in person, but I'm glad that we're able to make our meetings work this way as well. So we'll be getting that out. We'll be getting the survey out. Keep sending your ideas to us. We think that the connection of nonprofits is very important. The work that you do is important. Much of that can be done together. Let's find ways to continue working together. So thank you for the good work that you are doing. I have to get back to a meeting with the Wisconsin Arts Board. Got some good ideas coming out of that. Those of you that are in the arts world will be seeing some fun things coming out of that. I think I may have Karen Geschko's ear that we could do a nonprofit exchange specifically for the arts world to see how things are working for all of you and see how the Wisconsin Arts Board can help you with your work as well. So I've got to get back to that. Will Jenna, any final comments on your part as far as what they can see from us this afternoon or tomorrow?
That's it this afternoon. I'll send the recording out and that'll include the survey. So look for that this afternoon.
Thank you for joining us, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Tim. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.